Hey, it's Bilal, and this is Deep Sea, the podcast about seeing the world more deeply. In economics, there's always been a big debate about what drives economic growth. In the end, economists have assumed that positive shocks to an economy just kind of happen. However, there have been some thinkers who have looked inside the black box and focused on entrepreneurship. The three most prominent thinkers have to be Max Weber, Joseph Schumpeter, and Frank Knight. Max Weber was famous for his idea of the Protestant work ethic. Joseph Schumpeter was famed for his concept of creative destruction, while Frank Knight worked on differentiating between uncertainty and risk. They all lived in the early 1900s, and each of them had refined views of the types of individuals that drive positive shocks in economics. Let's go through each of them. For Weber, it was the entrepreneur that was the key player. Weber was deeply influenced by the Calvinist belief that accumulating wealth, living frugally, and not relying on the church for salvation was the driver for economic growth. Weber saw the entrepreneur or businessman as being rational and using their savings to expand. This he popularized as the Protestant work ethic. Schumpeter took another view. He saw disruptors who went against the tide as the true drivers of growth. They would be irrational, driven by their passion, and would be creative destroyers of large established firms. They would get their funding from banks who would pick the winning disruptors. The rewards or profits, though, would go to the disruptors and the innovators. On to Frank Knight. He agreed with the irrational entrepreneur, but departed from Schumpeter by arguing that financiers would not easily pick the disruptors. In fact, the scale of uncertainty would be enormous. For him, anything that could be forecasted easily would be called risk and could be insured against. But picking disruptors would not fall into that category. Instead, uncertainty, full of unknowns, would dominate. For Knight, then, it would be the financier that would be rewarded and get the profits, whether they be the banker or equity investor. The disruptor, meanwhile, would be salaried as an employee. So there you have three diverging views on who deserves profit. The frugal, rational process person, the disruptor, or the financier of the disruptor. Take your pick. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend about the podcast, leave a rating on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, or wherever you go for your podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BilalHafiz123, Facebook, LinkedIn, or on my blog, bilalhafiz.com. For my research work, you can go to macrohive.com. I'll be back soon, so tune in then.